Today we're going to be getting this big maple log out of this big brush pile. It's been pushed over for probably over a year. Right around whenever the coronavirus first started, we were able to do a lot of work cleaning up a bunch of farm ground. So that's whenever we had it. It's been down and with a bunch of other brush. There's a big brush pile with it, and it's going to be kind of hard to get to. There's a really large root ball on it that I'm going to have to cut off with a saw before we can do anything else. And there's also a couple poplar behind it that I'm going to have to kind of cut our way into the pile in order to grab the large log. The log's really big, and it's going to make some really good wood. We originally were just going to leave it there just because of how big it was, and we didn't really want to fool with it. But now that I have the wood yard set up in the location that we have, I'm going to be able to cut this up probably around here, just at this location, get it into some rounds, and maybe take it to the wood yard in big pieces. I'm not sure how we're going to do it yet, but that's kind of my initial thoughts on it. We're going to be using the 550 today because I don't want to sharpen the 562. Also, I don't even know if I have my file with me. And we're going to be using the skid steer with the grapple bucket. Both super essential tools whenever we're doing this. I guess I could do it without the skid steer, but man, it'd be super hard to get those rounds out as I was cutting them and moving through the type of brush that I'm going to be in. We'll get to it. All right, I lied. I did end up getting the 562 sharpened up a little bit, so I'm going to use it to get these little trees right here out of the way. Then I'll cut the root wad off, and then I'll cut it in half, then we'll pull it out from two ways. Let's get to this. All right, next up, I'm gonna cut the root wad off this big old boy, so we'll see how this works, if I can even get up here. Heck, I might just grab the 550 and dull the crap out of it and cut it all the way through here. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do, but it's dirty in there. Oh, there's a nest. Anyway, I'll figure out what I'm gonna do here. Well, looks like this is gonna be my best spot, so it's gonna be really hard to cut, but I'm gonna try and safely get around here to where I'll cut from the top first, maybe go down to the bottom, cut a little more. I'm not sure how I'm gonna break this up. All right, after what seemed like an eternity, finally got a cut on that. Definitely not the straightest cut in the world, but finally got it to where the top started pinching. Then I went on just a little bit more after that. Take the skid steer, see if we can't grab the back or chain to some part of this and pull it back and snap it off. Once that's done, I want to get this piece, flip it up on its back, and then go through and make another cut a couple feet up, wrap a chain around this, pull it out with the skid steer. Don't know if this is gonna work because this thing is a lot bigger than I thought, especially once I started cutting in it, but I'll get out of here one way or another. The next thing that I wanted to do to extract this log was cut the top off of this. The top on this had been really fallen and broken over, and it was really hard to mess with, so I decided to take a ton of it off to try and salvage this second log here at the top. So I'd been talking earlier about getting this out in two pieces, and the piece that I was standing on, at this point I realized I wasn't going to be able to get it out. It was just too far away from the field to hit it with a chain, and it was just too messed up in all these branches to be able to just really get it out. So I decided to leave it today, maybe get it later. However, once everything was sawed up on the log and it was ready to roll, the skid steer came over and we really got to work. First order of business that we had to do was take some of this excess dirt and push it down into this ditch. It's really hard to see here, But all these branches and limbs and trees are pushed into a huge little valley here, and it goes down pretty steep. In all honesty, if we wouldn't have put a little bit of dirt in there, it would have made it a lot harder to get out with the skid steer. Then once we got a hold of it and started pulling, you can see at the bottom of your screen that root ball moving. There was a stump attached to it and it was kind of preventing it from getting pulled out, so I decided to get the saw and cut it off. The next hiccup in our process was that poplar log that's dragging underneath the root ball. My brother didn't grab that initially because he thought he could just pull it right over it, but it ended up being a little bit of a hindrance, so we decided to take it out. Then with the mini stump out of the way and the poplar log in the pile, it was just a matter of getting the right grip to pull it out. It took a couple tries and a couple different adjustments and angles on grabbing it, but we eventually got it. Now with the root wad safely out of the way, it was time to make a path for the skid steer to get in and be able to grab the log and pull it out. So my brother was able to get the skid steer in there, lift it up, and whenever he had it lifted up, you can't really see it right here, but there was still a really big limb attached to the log, and it was so big and completely way back into the pile of brush that it was just all finagled together and you couldn't pull it out. It was just too tangled up. So I went in there off camera and I cut it, and then we were able to get a second grab on it and we were able to get it out of there.
Dang! Let's go! That's what I'm talking about!
Wow, that was awesome. That skid steer, man, that thing can pick up some weight. I mean, this is a big log. Well, hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a like and subscribe to the channel. And as always, have a good one. See you, everybody.